Hello and welcome back to the Dugout podcast. This is episode number 104. And of course, I'm always joined by my co-host Ethan Barlow to go over all of the football action, I guess you could say. We're going to be talking a little bit World Cup, obviously. I'd probably say there's been more drama off the pitch than on the pitch. We'll discuss that. We've got a little game that we've stolen from the internet to do in between, um, more focusing on world football. And then we're going to be chatting, obviously, Scottish football. And to round it off, we'll be doing the same game again with more of a Scottish football theme. But Ethan, how are you doing, mate? It's been a dramatic few days in the World Cup, hasn't it?
Yeah, I know some excellent games, some excellent stories, some drama on and off the pitch, as you said, which we'll all cover. I think I personally, and I think you were the same, would have liked to get an episode out a little bit earlier, but my illness held us back in that sense. But no, we're here just before the quarterfinals of the biggest stage are played. But with the nature of Scottish football, we're already seeing Celtic playing their first friendly. Aberdeen, I think, played their first friendly, which didn't go down too very well for them, as did Celtic's, in fairness. And then the Premier Sports League Cup group stages start on Saturday. So it's a very quick turnaround, and it feels like we're getting into the real nitty gritty of Scottish football already. But of course, we still get seven wonderful games, hopefully, to enjoy of the World Cup, which has been an excellent tournament so far.
Yeah, it has. It's been great, and it's a very interesting quarter-finalists. I don't think me and Ethan's predictions have been close at all. I think we've got a couple, but yeah. So we've obviously, so our quarter-finalists are France, Morocco, Spain, and Belgium, Norway and England, and Argentina and Switzerland. But how did we get here in the round of 16? So there's some stories attached to certain games, some games that aren't maybe not as dramatic. Probably the first Morocco and Canada, fairly straightforward victory. Mind you, all the hosts going out at this stage as well. Straightforward victory for Morocco. However, Paraguay and France has birthed a rather horrible storyline concerning a senator in Paraguay and Kylian Mbappe, the senator in question. I won't name her because I don't really want to give, obviously, we don't have much publicity, but I don't want to give any publicity to her. Excuse me, she's probably received plenty and went on a racist tirade on Twitter about Kylian Mbappe. However, Mbappe, his response, I think, was really, well handled from him.
Yeah, exactly that. And his response online to horrible remarks which don't belong anywhere near football or society as a whole, and go on to the sort of broader issues, which is we spoke about right at the very start of this when we said a lot of off the field issues, and this is one of the first that we'll go on to. Just something that it takes a lot away from the achievement of those Paraguay players, and people were saying that after the performance, and as well as the refereeing display from Ilgiz Tantashev, Uzbekistan referee, who of course we had our complaints about when Scotland played Morocco, because I thought he'd done an awful job in that game between the two sides. France obviously came out on top through the penalty goal from Mbappe, but yeah, it completely tarnishes Paraguay's reputation as a nation, as a football team, and they've done incredible things this tournament to get through to the round of 16 by beating Germany in that memorable match, and then of course the on the field issues weren't great, but not even in the same vein as some of the stuff that's come out of the mouth of that her. So yeah, awful. And yeah, I think Kylian Mbappe's dealt with it really well, and been a real. I think this tournament been a real sort of. You can see the maturity from him from maybe previous tournaments, and his previous football experiences. Obviously, a lot of people have always questioned his leadership skills, especially at club level, his lack of winning the Champions League and the Ballon d'Or. But I think we've seen him lead France to being the strong favourite so far from seeing all the teams
Yeah,
more than once.
yeah. For me, for the first time, he feels like a leader. He just doesn't feel like the star who's maybe got a bit of an ego, and I think this as well with this response. I'll just read that out, but because I think it shows his growth. You are a despicable woman and unworthy of your position. You do not represent Paraguay, that country which has sweated passion and honour throughout the competition. Through your reckless and brazen racism, the entire world has already forgotten the journey and historic effort that your players accomplished during this World Cup, making way for an incompetent woman who gives the worst possible image of our country. I will never allow people like her the freedom to spread their hatred and racism across the world.
Yeah, and there isn't really. I think we've pretty much touched on everything he's said there. He's encapsulated it really well into a paragraph and left us with not much more to say on the topic, really, but just a really unfortunate story on what was that game. A really excellent story in terms of how close Paraguay took France to maybe go into extra time or something like that. And as we said, the story of Paraguay beating Germany in the previous round. But yeah, really ugly scenes. But no credit to France and Mbappe for the on the pitch performance to get through, and of course his actions off the pitch.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So France did progress to the next round, as you said, Ethan. So we'll move on from that now to Brazil versus Norway. Um, a 0-0 for a long time. This was a really entertaining match. I thought Nealand and goals put in a ridiculously good performance, obviously saving a penalty from Bruno Guimaraes. Some decisions have been questionable over the past few days. However, I think this was correctly awarded. But
Yeah, I would agree, but also I think there was like angles that showed that Cristofaro got a touch on the ball, so I've seen a lot of people
he
complain
didn't
about
touch
that.
the ball. He
He
didn't
did,
touch it.
he did. No, he definitely did. There's an angle where the ball moves, and we'll get on to other topics about the ball moving and whatever, in another game which we'll get on to. I think. Oh no, a game that's passed actually in the previous round, which I'm sure we can cover as well. But there was an angle where the ball,
Do you want to bring it up just now then while we're on this topic?
what the offside for Croatia's late equaliser or lack of equaliser against Portugal in that excellent game. So, of course, Ronaldo got his first World Cup knockout stage goal. The equaliser after Ivan Perisic opened the score in Croatia, but excellent in the game. That was one of my sort of maybe wild predictions that I predicted Croatia to knock out Portugal because I just didn't see enough from Portugal. I didn't see enough from Portugal in this game to give me any confidence that would cause a real challenge to Spain. Of course, they did. Ramos did eventually get the winner in the 94th minute, but I think it was in the 102nd minute or something like that I think it was Josko Guardiola who came off the bench who had the ball in the net for Croatia, but it turned out to be offside um, because it was the substitute striker Matanovic who was ruled to have flicked the ball on to Pasalic, but there was no change in direction of the ball. There was the ball didn't flight the
Is
flight
it
of the ball
this
didn't change at all.
is it them relying on this touch technology?
Yes, it is. It's relying on the snickometer, which of course they use in cricket. But I think that this can be I don't know. I don't know if you can take it 100% face value because see the touch that they showed on the snickometer, it was so small and minuscule. If you compared that to the touch that happened straight after it with Renato Vega when he ducks under the ball for whatever reason, I don't know. I don't have a clue what he was doing in that scenario. then that touch would be off the scale compared to that one. So you could make the case that even Matanovic is the sort of force that um, he, I don't know how you would say it, the force that he
It had no,
sort of,
what you're saying is it doesn't matter what the touch was because it had no sort of bearing on the direction of the ball that led to the goal.
yeah, that, but he could have touched it. He could have touched it, and it could have not changed direction or the flight path or whatever. But him just going for the ball and being so close to the ball still could have made a sort of a sort of vibration of a force on the ball. I feel so. I think it's a really tough call, and I really
Also as well, I think maybe we're forgetting. It was it him that was ruled offside? Yeah.
Matanovic was ruled to have played the ball into Pasalic, who was standing in offside position. Pasalic was in the offside position.
All right. Okay. That's a bit strange.
Yeah.
I didn't see that incident. I've been more up to date recent games because I had a little bit of a mourning period after Scotland went out.
That's to be fair. This game was in the early hours, so I don't think it was one for the the most of the population watched at the time. But yeah, heavily scrutinised, and that's what the technology's there for. That's why they brought the sneakometer in. But it's still, can you get it 100% right? No, you can't. But you've just got to take it in face value and hope that the referees made the right decision because ultimately it ended Croatia's World Cup journey. And
Well,
yeah, I don't think
interesting though because the what do you call it, the
the
snickometer
sneakometer, yeah.
didn't rule that I or even touched the ball. So
Yeah,
is it?
yeah, you're completely right. But that's what people were saying. Why didn't they use the technology for that when it clearly did touch the ball? You can see on some angles it showed it is because I was actually looking at it going, why are people saying he's touched the ball? And then I seen a later angle from behind the goal, I think it was, and you can clearly see the ball changes direction ever so slightly. But it's I think it's really difficult for the referees to identify what they're actually looking for on the sneakometer. It's not like a semi-automated thing, and obviously in cricket when it's actually used, it's they're looking for one touch on the sneakometer, so it's pretty easy to use in that. Where in football it's a lot more subjective and difficult, so I can understand why it can easily be misused.
Even if he has touched it though, I think it's a penalty because
Yeah, probably is.
it's not changed the direction of the ball. Mateus Cunha's going to get to it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that logic, but I think some other people, I mean, you've seen some. We'll get on
Well,
to. But you've seen some people complaining about the Argentina's second goal because they wanted a foul in Mohamed Salah in the other box, which is just, well, it's
I
just
well,
ridiculous. So,
I thought Egypt's goal that got ruled out wasn't a foul.
well, I did, but we'll leave that. We'll get on to that one.
Right, okay. But yeah, so I had another point, but I can't really remember what it was. But anyway, Neelan saves the penalty from Mateus Cunha.
No,
Uh,
Bruno Guimaraes, it wasn't at the
Sorry,
penalty.
Bruno Guimaraes. It was Cunha that got fouled.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's the point. I've got another penalty point for the game that was played last night, the last of the games. That's because I'm not. I don't even know what a penalty is anymore. I'm quite annoyed. But anyway, Neeland, an incredible overall performance. This was a good game. I think there's a lot of possession being sort of shared. I think for the most part, Brazil did a good job of sort of stopping the ball from getting to Erling Haaland. However, he only needs that one opportunity because they did stop the wide men even when they changed it at half time. They changed both wide men. Alexander Sorloth was absolutely garbage. It was so bad. I don't know if it's because he's slow or he's not really technical, but he seemed to be afraid to run into space as well.
yeah,
It was
it's a really difficult one because, of course, Solbakken is trying to get his best players on the pitch, and Soloff is one of them. Unfortunately, he just falls in the position that has one of the best players in the world also in it. And when they're trying to play a formation with one striker, of course, Erling Haaland's always going to play in his strongest position through the middle, which forces Saul off out to that right hand side. But at any times I've seen him, and especially against Brazil, it is a real eyesore watching it. It just doesn't work at all. And I think they'd be a lot better with one of their natural wingers. I don't think by any means that Oscar Bob was great when he came on, but of course,
Oh,
Andre Selderup, who come on for the other side on the left, he gets the two assists for the goals. And not saying he does too much for the, it's a nice ball for the first goal, and it's a decent pass for the second goal, but it's kind of give it to Erling Haaland and he'll do the rest sort of thing.
yeah, just in classic um, Haaland fashion, he wasn't in the game at all. He'd maybe had one opportunity before that, just missing sliding chance at the back post, but he wasn't in the game at all. And it was, I don't know, Ethan, have you seen the angle where it focuses on him and the lead up to the first goal? He's just walking and walking and walking. Sheldrop gets the possession and he gets the run on Gabriel and just bullies him, heads it in. It was literally just him strolling about, sprints, makes that move because he sees the opportunity. He's got the eye for goal. It's a great header from him. And this is a
Yeah,
really exciting golden boot race. Between him, Messi, Kylian Mbappe, you've got Kane knocking on the door as well. It's really exciting.
yeah, and all credit to Erling Haaland because I wouldn't have really given him a fighting chance for to be in Golden Boot conversations at this time of the tournament, and just based on the level of opponent he's played. Of course, he didn't even play against France, so he's played less minutes in that game than any of the other contenders completely. I know Messi was rested in his last group game, but he did come off the bench and score. Um, but no, he's been absolutely excellent and just been Norway's talisman, like they could only imagine him to be after qualifying. He's return for Norway is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's what 14 consecutive games with goals for them now. His overall record for them is amazing, and now it's crazy to think he's just what 4 goals behind Cristiano Ronaldo in World Cup scoring, or 5 goals possibly, and that's the amount of games he's played. And you can never you can't use the argument like maybe you would with a Lionel Messi or a Kylian Mbappe that they've played in better teams than Cristiano Ronaldo, because this Norway team is excellently set up. If you're looking at the individual players, it's not it's not a team of world beaters. They're just a very well structured team. Credit to Solbakken for getting them to where they.
I'm not saying this to sort of thingy and defend Ronaldo, but the Portugal teams over the years haven't been, the only the
No, no, I know
I
they
think
haven't been great at all.
they're only coming into their sort of. It's strange when Ronaldo's sort of coming to the end of his career. This is probably the best squad they've had in years.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd agree. But maybe we'll speak about Portugal because the manager has obviously been linked with a lot of jobs with Scottish football related when we get onto their elimination. But no, all credit to Haaland, 2 excellently well taken goals, and as you said, maybe a little bit deceiving. But I think people that are used to watching Haaland know how quick he is. You speak about force; he's just an amazing athlete. When he gets moving, he's really hard to stop, and that's what
I
Gabriel's
saw,
seen. He gets the run on him, and he's gone.
they're playing England in the next round. I saw, you ever seen the show Vikings? And it's like
No,
the,
I've not. I've never seen
so,
the show. No.
so it's like, I saw like an AI version of that. And it was like the English team were like defending like the castles and stuff from like the invading Vikings. And it was Haaland and Odegaard and all that. It was so sick.
Yeah, you're just that from our point of view. You're just hoping his scoring continues, and it is really difficult to see England sort of
Can't,
holding them out.
they can't contain him. England,
No.
they could barely they could, like, all respect to Raul Jimenez, but they could barely contain him. Could have had 3 goals in that
Yeah,
game. Genuinely, they couldn't handle him, and he's he's got a great eye for goal, and obviously, but he's not been the same since that horrible, horrible injury he's experienced, and they've struggled against him. So I don't think they can contain Erling Haaland, especially when they're having their own sort of crisis at right back. We'll get on to that as
Yeah.
well.
And maybe just the last point on Haaland, unless you have any more, is that this is, I think, the best we've ever seen him play. Obviously, at the most elitist level in terms of the World Cup. That, and I think what really helps him is he is on an underdog team. And I know we have a lot of people have had high expectations for Norway, including yourself, but they are probably still the biggest underdog team to make it to the quarterfinals.
I wouldn't call it expectation. I'd probably just say I was kind of before the tournament. I wouldn't have said that because everyone was touting them as dark horses. Maybe this quarterfinals is where I would have pushed them to. However, as the tournament's gone on, as I've seen them, that's why I'm thinking maybe they can get to the final because they're a well-oiled machine and they've got potentially the like it's for me it's a four-horse race. It's very close. Potentially the best player in the world, and it's insane me saying four horse race um because you think it's silly because you think obviously I'm talking about Lionel Messi who plays in the MLS, and you think okay maybe he's still playing really really well. He's scoring goals, but it's the MLS. Is he will he slow up? He's just come back to the world stage and showed he's still one of, if not the best. So yeah, but Haaland for me is up there with Mbappe, Kane and Messi, and he's
Yeah.
shown it this tournament.
Yeah, and about the sort of underdog point, he's playing in a team that at Manchester City, they're expected to win every game. They're expected to have the ball. All their players are expected to be excellent technical footballers, get on the ball, get loads of touches. Haaland's obviously not that. We've known he's not that. And I think he really relishes the opportunity just to stand up front like a striker, an old fashioned striker, and just get the ball and score goals. And I think he absolutely loves that. And we're seeing him really thrive with that. And I think if Norway can continue to play how they did against Brazil and how they did against Senegal, especially as well, was another pretty tough game. And they certainly have a chance against England. Of course, they'll go in as underdogs. England are a great team of players, and I think that they're showing as the
They're a
tournament goes
great
on that
team.
they've got a formula to win. And I think that's what England have got, which worries me. But I think Norway can certainly disrupt that, or at
Yeah.
least ruffle a few feathers.
Another storyline in this game is Neymar. He does score his penalty. Um, Kind of a weird penalty decision, but you know,
Yeah,
I just yeah, it's certainly interesting. Um, but he scores his penalty. One thing that I didn't think looked too good on him is he kind of celebrated after he scored because obviously he was chatting to Neelan the whole time, and he goes up to Neeland, and Neeland's just kind of like, "Aye, well, you've lost the game, mate." So you know, although the ref did let play go on for quite a while after that, and I was kind of thinking, Brazil going to equalise here. But they didn't. Norway managed to hold out and progress. But yeah, the end of the road for Neymar.
yeah, that's been something. Obviously, as you say, I completely agree with everything you said. Penalty was a little bit of a strange one, but I can see why they've given it. But at the same time, really soft. I would say, well taken penalty by Neymar, and at least he has some sort of positive thing to hold on to. If that is to be his last World Cup moment, which you would imagine it will be, because you can see just even in that short cameo he comes on, he's not the same player he was even 4 years ago at the last tournament in Qatar. And yeah, a bit strange that he was so um, he's so happy to get that one over. Neil the goalkeeper. As of course they were exchanging words before the penalty kick, and then I think the emotion hits him a few minutes after full time when he realizes that is his last stance at a World Cup, and
Yeah,
I think it was.
did you hear what Casemiro said
Yeah,
after the
I
game?
was actually just going to say what Casemiro said. They'll always be remembered as the jet, or sort of similar ones. They'll always be remembered as the generation of Brazil players that never won the World Cup, and that's exactly it. Where Neymar is, a lot of people would say, the greatest Brazilian or footballer of all time, or one of the greatest footballers of all time, but to never have won the World Cup is a big stain on that legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, he is the greatest Brazilian player ever, just in terms of like individual player, and not in terms of achievements. Because obviously he can't hold a candle to the likes of Pele, Ronaldinho, R9, because they all won it. Um, but yeah, he's just I think he's the best talent we've ever seen come out of Brazil. One of the best talents we've ever seen just come into football in general. And yeah, it's a sad day for him. But yeah, they will always be remembered as the generation that never won it, and um, the generation that I guess you could say failed miserably,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
even in the tournaments where they made good runs, 2014, they were slapped out of the semi-finals by Germany, and that infamous 7-1 win for the Germans. I remember I was on holiday. I was 9 at the time. This is when I was properly getting into football. Um, and sort of sitting in a restaurant with my family. The game was on the telly, and I couldn't believe what was happening in front of my eyes. It was absolutely mental. And yeah, this unfortunately this Brazil team will go down as probably one of the worst Brazil generations ever. And there have been some good players to pass through it, but maybe they'll be looking to the future with the likes of Rayan and then Esteban, who's unfortunately, I think he's still injured at the moment, um, because he got injured with Chelsea during the season, and I think that put him out for a while. The likes of obviously Vinny Junior's still got at least another World Cup in him, maybe two. So yeah, and maybe they'll need to look to the future with these guys, because a lot of the current squad will be passing through. I mean, the fullbacks, um, obviously Casemiro, Neymar, um, Marquinhos. I don't think we'll see him at another competition, World Cup competition. So yeah, it's the end of an era for Brazil, and a disappointing era.
yeah, and that's the thing with World Cups. You realise when, of course, every 4 years, and that's why I think I said earlier, you need to relish the final games and really sort of, I don't know, take in the full opportunity of witnessing a World Cup, because, as you said, they only come around every 4 years, and the players are the same. Because we've been blessed with seeing players go to 6 World Cups, which is just was unheard of before and might be unheard of going forward. Of course, players are having longer careers now. Recovery, medication, everything is, of course, improved, but you also don't have players with the mindset of a Cristiano Ronaldo or a Lionel Messi in the game currently, I wouldn't say. And, I wouldn't, even Lionel Messi, especially, I wouldn't be too surprised if we seen Messi at another World Cup. I don't know. I just don't think.
Really?
Yeah,
Three.
I think it will be his last one. But I just think that because he relies so
Well,
littly on
if,
his,
if, if they win it, I think he'll hang on for the three-peat.
he might. But even if they don't win it, I just think that he relies so littly on his physical sort of skill set, physical abilities, that if he's going to be 4 years older, what would he be? 40,
Yeah, because
43,
because we're seeing that.
42?
Yeah, because we're seeing that with Ronaldo as his physical
Yeah.
abilities decline. He was so reliant on them. Obviously, still great technically, but that his physical attributes were a massive part of his game. He's jumping, he's heading, he's just ability to do that sort of thing. And he was, he's talking about Haaland being an athlete. Ronaldo was the ultimate athlete, and as he gets older, not everybody can be LeBron James and defy the laws of time because look, I don't know. I don't know how LeBron's still doing it. But yeah, but unfortunately, Ronaldo has relied on his physical ability for so long, whereas Messi's technical ability is just something is ridiculous. And obviously, I love like for years I was sort of embroiled in the Messi Ronaldo debate, and I was a Ronaldo guy, and I even you have to like joke and go, oh no, I don't like Messi and stuff, but like just since like the last World Cup, I'd say I've just been like appreciating. Like obviously, I appreciated him when he was playing at Barcelona and stuff, but I think now I'm just sitting back and appreciating how ridiculous he is. I will never see anything like him ever again in football, in my opinion.
We
It's
might,
insane.
we might.
Woo!
Well, I don't know. Maybe we don't. We've not heard of him yet. But there's always, somebody always thinks that no one's going to break a record or no one's going to be better than so and so until the next person comes along. So you never know. No, I agree with you. I think you would be.
Is this how old heads in basketball feel when the next guy in 20 years there's going to be someone people are saying Messi that this guy's better than Messi. We're going to be on podcasts going, oh my God, you don't know how good Lionel Messi was.
Yeah, no, but I think you would be naive to be so confident that there will be someone better than Lionel Messi. But I also think you would be naive to write off the possibility. But no, I think he is by far the greatest that we've ever seen. But we're going on ridiculous tangents here. We're getting too excited talking about Ronaldo and Messi. We've not even spoken about their games yet.
So moving on to Mexico versus England. Mexico playing in their fortress, the Azteca, hadn't lost there in what, like 8 years or something like that, something crazy.
I think everybody's been thrown a bit different. What I heard which looked on reliable source and was 13 years in a competitive match. So it was
Wow.
quite a while anyway before England travelled there.
Yeah, well, and England did come away with a win, but it was mostly Mexico. England opened the scoring through Jude Bellingham. um, Quick fire counter attack and goal. And then they scored again off of Mexico's kickoff. Some nice pressing, some nice play from Bellingham, who then received it back from Harry Kane for 2-0. However, Mexico answered back quickly, getting themselves back into the game through Julian Quinones, who has been very, very good this tournament. Obviously, plays under Brendan Rodgers out in Saudi Arabia. And it was a really nice finish from him. Why you put a big grin on there,
No, I
Ethan?
thought it was a perfect opportunity to mention where the absolute dreamland delusional Scotland fans thinking number one manager choice had went over to Saudi Arabia now.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Ange Postecoglou joins Cristiano Ronaldo Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, I saw Rafa Benitez talking about he would rule himself out for a job. I don't want him. But yeah, goes half time 2-1. Jarell Quansah is then sent off. I don't know how the referee didn't spot this straight away. An awful challenge. However, if I was England, I'd be asking for this to be overturned, Ethan. Much like
Yeah, well,
uh,
we'll get on to that obviously, but I think that's what the point Thomas Tuchel was making after the game. And no, at this point, England. It's difficult because it's like I think the one sport in particular, and this is going on a massive tangent, but you might agree, where the commentary really affects your opinion on the match sometimes is boxing. I find if you watch boxing without commentary, sometimes you'll get a completely different opinion on a fight compared to the narrative that the commentators are trying to portray. And I felt like this was the same watching this match because I thought Mexico were excellent and credit to England, they defended really well and got their two goals. in the first half, but it
They were
was all
waffling,
Mexico.
they were waffling on about how amazing this performance was. I don't think they were that good
Yeah.
um, at all.
I think no, but I think where they do deserve credit is when they go down to 10 men and have to play over half an hour in that at that altitude, which everyone kept harping on about. Of course, in that stadium, they hadn't lost there, and yeah, as you said, a clear red card, a horrible challenge. Of course, he doesn't mean it like ones that we'll
Think,
get on to, but it's
think
endangering
they
the
took
opponent,
think they took
and
the Viagra.
they might have done. No, I don't think so. But you never know. It was obviously
That's proven to help with
yeah.
altitude.
Yeah, and it's fine margins sometimes in sports, so they might have done. I imagine a few players would have sort of asked for um, advice on it and whether that was going to help them. Uh, and for yeah, and Alan Shearer at the time was said it was a great tackle, and then of course he's seen the replay and couldn't really
I
argue
really
with it, but
like.
he was still having a problem with the Mexico penalty, which I thought was pretty clear.
I thought both penalties were quite clear. I, I really like Alan Shearer, but whenever he commentates on England, it's
Yeah,
insufferable.
completely agree with you. Completely agree.
He's just so overwhelmingly biased. But England do get their penalty. Um, really, really good, brave play from well, now I'm doing it now from Anthony Gordon. Sort of just tapping it past Rangel in between the sticks for Mexico, who brings him down. And penalty England. I've not got any complaints. And they make it 3-1. Mexico then get their penalty, Alan Shearer, so clearly I had a problem with. Ethan, do you want to talk us through that?
No, I think it's just a clear penalty. He makes contact with I can't remember what two players it was, but it was from the corner, wasn't it? And well, it was Harry Kane, in fact, was it not? That was the
Yeah.
one, the perpetrator. Yeah, and clearly makes contact with Mexico player, no contact to the ball. You could maybe argue it's on a little bit of the softer side, but I still think it's a clear penalty
He
in
just
today's
goes through
game.
his foot. He just goes through
Yeah,
his foot.
yeah. No real complaints from me on either of and any of the decisions. I thought the referee had a good game. And I think most of the refereeing has been pretty good, I would say. Obviously, a few off the field decisions, which we'll get on to, a little bit questionable. But in this game, I thought it was really good resilience from Mexico to get back into the game. And then you thought that they were going to get another one, but they never really pressured John Pickford's goal too much. And England defended really well. Credit to them. They brought Dan Burn on, and
See John Pickford as well. I thought he had a really good game.
yeah, he's
Some
always an
ridiculously
excellent
good saves.
he's always an excellent performer for England, and one of their most consistent. I would say up there with Harry Kane, and probably you'd have to put after this tournament Jude Bellingham.
Should we talk about the hilarious thing? Uh, top,
Yeah,
top, top,
hilarious, but a little bit of sympathy.
top performance from Jordan Henderson. Didn't see the pitch. Was booked, and then in the celebrations, like broke his wrist or something, trying to jump back over the barrier. Has been ruled out for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, well, I think it was it Roy Keane that famously remarked, "What does he do? Card tricks?" And no, that's not what he does. He gets right involved. He's willing to pick up injuries and get yellow cards for the team, even from the bench. So credit to Henderson, and I hope he makes a full recovery
Yeah,
in all
it's
seriousness. But it wasn't.
obviously it's not
But it was
funny.
no. But it was a
It's not
quite. It
funny
was a
the
little
whole
bit of
part,
a
but
no, of course. But it was a little
it's
bit
like
of a
it's farcical. It's farcical that
yeah.
he's not seen the picture. He's got himself. So hopefully he's all right, but it's a bit of a you know what I think is quite funny though. You see in the video, 6'7" Dan Burn, no problem, just sort of leaps over it, and John Henderson thinks, "Oh, I can do that," and just absolutely face plants on the side. So yeah, I think he just got caught up in the adrenaline of the celebrations
Yeah.
and Obviously, we hope he's all right and he makes a full recovery, but it was quite farcical.
Yeah, the adrenaline or the high of the altitude getting to him there, unfortunately. But as you said, I think he's all well within reason and will make a full recovery. Well, possibly for the start of next season. I don't know the injury timeline, but of course he'll be there to do the card tricks and whatever else he's going to do as part of the squad. Not from a playing point of view, I'd imagine. But of course, I think he has still had Mexico at the moment because he didn't travel with the squad back to wherever they're based, which I'm forgetting at the
Is
moment
it
where
is it
that is.
Kansas City there?
It is, I think I'm pretty sure it is now. Now you say that.
Yeah, so that's that. England progress to face Norway. Now moving on to um, what I think probably held the crown as most boring game of the round until last night. So it was shortly lived. But Portugal versus Spain. Portugal, I think their game plan was to not just sort of soak up pressure. And they did do that very well. Spain, every time they got into the final third, it was misplaced passes. Both teams were extremely poor in the final third. You know what was interesting, and that I thought was quite, I think maybe shows how far Ronaldo was falling. See when Portugal were breaking and he got the ball, he really reminded me of Sorloth against Brazil. Just how
Yeah,
bad
well,
he was. And yeah, and obviously Spain do get the winner in the 91st minute through Mikel Merino, and then Portugal, all their work, all their game plan, sort of out the window because they not attacked Spain on purpose to try and nullify them, and it had worked for most of the match. But Spain did break through.
yeah, exactly that. And it wasn't as you said, it wasn't a great game. Two titans of world football, especially European football, and two teams that were contenders to win this. And I think Spain are still contenders, mainly I would say based on the fact they haven't conceded a goal. But yeah, Portugal really disappointing across the tournament. As I said, I had no hope for them after the group stages, and it wasn't my narrative wasn't altered after watching them against Croatia. I don't know how. Of course, he's left the post down, and he was someone that I wanted to speak about because, of course, he was linked with the Celtic job. I've seen a few people suggesting they would take him as the Scotland manager. I wouldn't. Roberto Martinez, I think he's just not a very good manager. I know he's had some excellent jobs and he's done well at the past at the likes of Wigan, but I
You
just
know, you know, I saw someone. It was a tweet or something. It was the only guy in football who's managed to fail upwards.
yeah, no, exactly that. And how, of course, that I always say this and caveat it by saying the players take responsibility, but how you can have a midfield free of João Neves, Vitinha, and Bruno Fernandes with Bernardo Silva as a supporting actor, I believe only started one game, two at most, and make the midfield a hard watch is honestly beyond me. And I don't know how much they're trying to shoehorn Cristiano Ronaldo into the team when he's clearly in my opinion, not good enough to be starting for Portugal at this time. Comes into that, but the amount of talent that Portugal have in that squad, it's all went to waste ultimately because they haven't even come close to challenging for this tournament.
Yeah,
And I
this
tipped them.
this this is interesting because not everyone is like Cristiano Ronaldo can play this long. So by having to shoehorn someone in who isn't up to scratch anymore at that level, you've wasted the chance for a prime Bruno Fernandes, and you've wasted the chance for Ruben Diaz and the likes of these guys because they're not like youngsters. A few of them are on the older side. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes, 31, Ruben Diaz, 29, a little bit younger. But by the time we get to the next World Cup, 35 and 33, João Cancelo's 32, who I think is still decent, but that's his opportunity gone, I'd say. I don't think we'll see them performing to the level that they can in this next World Cup. So the next World Cup they won't have Ronaldo. They'll have a diminished Diaz. Maybe Cancelo won't even be part of the international setup. Diminished Diaz, diminished Fernandez, just wasted on a poor manager and on a guy who can't let go of his own ego. And I think you saw that in his post-match presser when he was talking about how the Euros is, in his eyes, equal to the World Cup. Before he came in, Portugal had won nothing, and now he leaves and Portugal has three trophies. Euros, fair play. The two Diddy Cups, like, come on, mate. Like,
Oh, come on, mate. No, he said it was along the lines of before Cristiano. Before Cristiano, he said Portugal had won nothing. Now they've won three, and all credit to him. I think everyone, no matter how much you dislike Ronaldo and his personality and what he's done off the pitch, I think everyone respects what he's done as a sportsman, and you have to. And of course, we have grown up with Ronaldo and that battle against Messi. I think the gap's been widened, but of course, I think Cristiano Ronaldo is still widely regarded as the second greatest of this generation of all time, and he deserves his place in that. But the delusion that is come out of him in recent years is really sad to see that I think all he's done is tarnished his reputation because he's been unwilling to accept his place in football history. He's unwilling to accept the 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 World Cup is the greatest. No, he knows the World Cup is the greatest trophy in football, and for him to never win it, of course, it hurts him. But some of his comments about the Saudi League being one of the best in the world and stuff like that is just delusional, and he's ruined, I would say, his team's chances at Portugal's chances of winning this tournament. I would say by the ego and the nature of the pressure he probably puts on Roberto Martinez to play him. But even I will caveat. I know I like caveating things, but I will caveat that by saying Portugal without Ronaldo weren't exactly anything special either. I know we only seen it for a few brief minutes here and there, but they weren't great. And yeah, just disappointing. It feels like a real wasted opportunity for them to finally get their name on the board of winning a World Cup for Spain. For Spain, they've just been really solid so far. That they've not been excellent. It
can
feels
we
like that.
talk? So we've spoken a lot about star players this tournament rising to the occasion. Can we speak about a ghost?
What?
Uh,
Sorry,
a ghost.
a ghost.
Yeah.
If you're speaking about Portugal, then who is the ghost?
No, I'm speaking about Lamine Yamal.
Oh, Lamine Yamal. Yeah.
He
Um,
was really poor, and he's not. Obviously, he's still 18 years of age, which is ridiculous because it feels like he's been around for
Yeah, right.
ages.
Okay. No, I agree with you, right? And I'll get on to the point as to why I think this might be the case. And I think I said it earlier in the tournament to somebody that I was speaking to, but he's been poor by Lamine Yamal standards. He's not been poor. He's still been pretty good. He was still even good in that game. I will make a
He
point as to
was.
when he started being good in the game. There was a significant point and a significant reason why I think he got better in the game.
Is
But
that what? Yeah, because Nuno Mendes came off injured, who was,
yes,
had
yeah, I
him
agree.
in
But
the back pocket for
yeah,
the
but Nuno
final
Mendes has had almost everyone in his back pocket at one point, so that's not
Yeah, no,
really.
but we're talking about Lamine Yamal potentially being one of the best players in the world, and he's not stepped up to the plate with these others. Obviously, he's much younger than all of them, but still, he's not shown up in this tournament. And I thought, he was marshalled expertly by a world class left back, but you know, still, it's if you're one of the best players in the world, you need to be making the world class left backs look foolish. That's what you need to be doing. Obviously because he's come through Barcelona and at such a young age and he's been very good. The comparisons have been there with Lionel Messi. How many world class players has he made look ridiculous over the years? I mean, Jerome Boateng
Yeah,
is the one that pops to mind.
yeah, but Messi played at a World Cup at this age and still wasn't, or maybe even older than Lamine Yamal, wasn't as good as Yamal has been this tournament.
how do you know that? Have you got
because he
have
just
you
wasn't. He scored a goal or maybe a couple, but he played a bit part role. He wasn't. Lamine Yamal hasn't been great, right? By Lamine Yamal standards, but he still scored a goal. He still created a lot of chances. He wasn't great in this game, I agree. But when was his best games of the European Championship? It was as the tournament went on, the semi-final, the final, the quarter-final. I wouldn't bet against them to really turn it on now, but I think the reason why he's struggled, and I seen this when he first made the return. And he was excellent against Cape Verde as well. Although they never got the goal, he absolutely changed the game for Spain in that and made them look like they were going to score at least. But I think it's the physicality of the tournament in terms of the fact that the referees are letting a lot go. And there's so many times he's went down looking for fouls and they're not giving it. And that's if it's a consistent
well,
um,
he just needs to get used to that,
no, I know
and
it's not. I'm not making an excuse for him. I'm just trying to identify the reason why he's maybe not as effective as he once was. But I'm not counting against him to turn it on in these last three games if they make it that far. But I think he's been okay. He's not been a ghost. I think that's being harsh. But by Lamine Yamal standards and the standards that he probably holds himself to, I think he will be a little bit disappointed. But I think Spain will be as well, despite the fact they've not conceded a goal. It feels like they haven't got out a second gear. They feel like they're a team that plays very safe and they're not going to blow anybody away. They're not going to win three. I know they have won um, against lesser opposition, but against elite opposition, with the rest of the teams in the tournament, they're not going to win 3 or 4 now. They might do. I might be the curse to whoever they face, but I think they're just they're a very measured team. But I think they're all a bit too safe to really go too far in this competition from here on out. But credit to them for getting here. But no, I don't think they're the same team that done so well at that European Championship.
no, they're definitely not. I've really been unimpressed by them. It's been an uninspiring watch. Um,
Yeah,
maybe it's because I think maybe a big part of this team that is missing because he's not been great recently. Is and who was a star of that European run was Nico Williams.
yeah.
Because it was just dazzling play on both sides. It was him and Lamine Yamal, and obviously Rodri, who was good in the games as well. But it was mainly him and Lamine Yamal that won that tournament for Spain. And there's a lot of the Spanish players um, who play in the sort of forward areas. There's no pace. There's no sort of excitement, I guess you could say. Um, there's no unpredictability either. And I think that the absence of Nico Williams, who was incredible at that time, is a big reason for why they've looked so uninspiring.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with you because that dynamic of having the two electric wiggers on each side that are um, full of youthful energy and got that real sort of fear factor. No, yeah, the fear factor, lack of fear at their young ages, and I think for Nico Williams, obviously had that big injury, which he's still probably not 100% recovered from, which is maybe why he's not reached the heights he did at
I
that
think
tournament.
as well, it's a case of he's not challenged himself. He's signed that ridiculous contract. Uh,
Possibly, but I think the injury is obviously the primary factor because he has been injured almost all of the season, or pretty much most of the time since he signed that contract that you're referring to. He's been sidelined. So, and Lamine Yamal's not exactly had his fair share of consecutive games without injury as well. We know he's got problems which are probably going to run throughout his career, unfortunately. So it's difficult, but Spain are still in there. They're still in with a shout, and if they can click back into the form they showed in that European Championships, then they can certainly go all the way. Because I don't think they were always good in the European Championships, but I always felt that they get better with every game, and And you could maybe make the case that that's the same here. Although I don't think Portugal are. I know they've got past Portugal, but despite looking at Portugal's team sheet and squad, I don't think they're a very good side at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I will move on now to my favourite game of the round, USA versus the world, because everyone was on Belgium's side after Donald Trump got in the ear of Gianni Infantino and had Valerian Balogun's suspension suspended. I think it was. It wasn't overturned. It was a suspended suspension, which is still kind of weird though, because if they, how long was it suspended for the, for a game or um,
No, I
they
think it was suspended until just after the tournament.
yeah,
So
so basically got rid of his suspension, which outraged the world of football, outraged Belgium's manager, of course, Rudy Garcia, outraged a lot of people. Trump digging holes for himself, talking about he doesn't even know what a red card is. And then there's a clip, I'm pretty sure there's a clip from a wee while ago where someone's explaining to him what a red card is. Um, although, and yeah, it was just awful and a black mark on what has been a really exciting tournament. And then his justification was like ridiculous. He's like, "What if Messi? Like, would you be? What if you turned around and told you Messi couldn't play?" And I'm thinking, well, if he'd been sent off, then yeah, that's the way it works. And
yeah,
Valerian Balogun, decent player, but he's not Lionel Messi.
yeah.
So he's not even I'd say he's on the par of maybe Jarell Quansah, who's sent off for England in terms of
Well,
level of
I think
play.
that's a little bit unfair of Balogun, I would say. I'd say he's a little bit higher
No,
regard based on how
Jarell
much his
Quansah's a
nation
good
values
player.
him.
Jarell
No,
Quansah's
but
a
how
good
much his
player.
nation values him.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. But like, yeah, it was just ridiculous. But and Belgium were furious, and it looks like they took all that fury and went out and absolutely battered the USA. They
Yeah.
took the
And
lead.
sorry, sorry, I just wanted to speak on this before we spoke about the match and just get it over with because it's something that you just can't believe really has happened in our game, we would say. And of course, you could say this is the real elements, and we've seen loads of them, of course, with hydration breaks and other stuff. But the real elements of US sports coming into our game, I've seen a lot of people, um, United States fans at the time, questioning the decision, why he was sent off because there was no malicious intent, and usually in the US sports, that's
It was reckless endangerment, wasn't it?
no, it was a red card, and that was what everyone was trying to explain to them. But of course, in their sports, and if you're not too familiar with football or soccer, they think that that was a really unfair decision, which it wasn't. It was really harsh on Balogun. It was unfortunate, um, but it was a red card at the end of the day. They got the right decision. USA won the game, and that should have been the end of it. He should have been suspended. But Donald Trump, whatever you want to say about him, he's someone who knows how to win people over, and he saw an opportunity when US. What are you saying?
Gosh, allegedly. Uh,
Allegedly. No,
yeah,
I think Donald Trump saw an opportunity to
he's a
get
salesman. He's a salesman. He's a
Yeah,
businessman.
no, that's exactly what he is. Yeah, exactly what he is. And he saw an opportunity to get people on maybe his side. And if it got 10 people back on his side, 1,000 people back on his side, 10,000 people back on his side, because he was the man who phoned Gianni Infantino at FIFA and got their star player unsuspended for that
It's,
match, then he will
it's
do it.
interesting. It's interesting though because and maybe in the hope to get maybe a couple more Americans on his side, he's managed to make the world hate the USA even more.
Yeah. But yeah,
Uh,
but I think yes, but yeah, you could say that. But at the same time, I think of course, Infantino, you would agree, Infantino is held um, on the same level, if not more responsible for the decision. And I think we've known this
There's
for a
calls,
while, but
there's calls for him to resign, and I agree he should,
yeah,
but I don't think he obviously won't.
no.
He'll
But we
cling on
know,
to for dear life. One thing I wanted to say as well was Rudy Garcia said he spoke to Balogun, and Garcia was like, it's not his fault. He's a good player. It's out of his hands. I thought that was kind of class from the Belgian manager.
yeah, and Belgium were a class act, and we'll get on to their performances on the field. But that's exactly what everyone thought. No one was sitting there thinking, oh, this is a US national team problem and it's their fault and nothing like that. It was just a terrible decision from, first of all, Donald Trump, but Gianni Infantino should be above that. But as we've known for a while, I think possibly in Donald Trump's pocket. And yeah, it was a terrible decision
Allegedly,
to, yeah,
allegedly.
allegedly. Yeah, it was a terrible decision to suspend the suspension, and really unfortunate. And unfortunately, that Belgium won the game because I think it would have been a much bigger problem had the USA gone on to win, and of course Balogun went on to score the goal. But yeah, even the before just the final point, I've dragged this on a little bit. The US fans, they were. I seen some of them making the point. Would you not like to play against the strongest possible US national team? And people were just like, but he got suspended. He got sent off fair and square. He misses a
That's
game
the
like
rule.
everyone else.
That's the rules.
Yeah,
If I don't know, who's probably one of the most important Belgian players this tournament off the bench has been Romelu Lukaku. If Lukaku was suspended, we wouldn't be expecting him to get overturned because he's scored off the bench so often. We would be like, oh, bring him in. Do you not want to play against the strongest Belgium team? No, because he's been suspended. It's the rules. It's the football. It's the way it works. Right. So this is going to sound really gatekeepery, but USA is not a footballing nation, but you want to be a part of our game. You want to host our tournament, the thing we look forward to every 4 years, the thing that we love, the thing that us as football fans, hold as the highest possible achievement in football. If you want to be a part of that, you need to follow the rules. We put up with certain things like hydration breaks, that sort of thing, fine. If you want to run your ads, that's fine. Um, do that. But when you start impacting the actual game, it's crossing it. It's crossing the line, and we don't. We're open to certain changes, but there's things about football that we don't. That has been right for years and years and years and years. I mean, this game's almost as old as their country. So I think, and obviously it has changed over the years, but I think they should, stay out of how football's run. But it doesn't help, obviously, when Infantino's letting that happen.
yeah, no, of course. But get on to the football now.
Yeah, that was a bit of a rant. And for any USA fans, I don't have anything like against you. If you like football, you're watching football. Fine. It's good. It's a great sport. It's the greatest sport in the world. That's why we talk about it so much. That's why we love it, and we love to see people getting involved. But when it comes to breaking the rules, and well, I have seen, to be fair, I have seen a few people from the USA talking about this and going, "This is ridiculous," because they actually know what football is about. Because there are quite a few of them, more than you'd expect, to watch it with the same passion as the rest of the world and the same sort of, um, you know, it makes or breaks their day. There are more than you'd think. So any USA fans watching, I'm not speaking about you directly. I'm just, yeah, it was quite annoying. But Belgium did the job on yous anyway. They opened the scoring in the ninth minute through Charles de Ketelara. Some excellent play from Nico Raskin. Absolutely tremendous, tenacious play, winning the ball, taking it to the byline. Lovely, lovely pass across the face of goal. And all the Ketelara had to do was knock it into the net, made by Nico Raskin's desire and effort. I'm hamming this up a little bit, but it was good play from the wee man.
The wee
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
you
yes,
speak like he's your pal or something.
yes, my pal. So he's but then uh, an excellent free kick from a former Rangers player, Malik Tillman. No, it was a free kick outside obviously outside I think it was the 18, the D, sorry, the D, not the 18-yard box. That's where every free kick is taken from. Out just outside the D, and it was deflected, I believe, off of, was it the
Hans Hans
substitute
Vanaken.
Van Aken, yeah, who came on for Amadou Onana, who unfortunately what was it, like a cruciate ligament or something?
Yeah, 7 to 8 months, I think. A really, really bad one, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, and we hope he makes a speedy recovery. But Belgium were in front 2 minutes later through Charles de Ketelaere again. A nice header from him, assisted by Leandro Trossard. Then in the second half, a disastrous bit of play from Matt Fries. Um, Another thing that I think has shown that maybe some Americans don't understand our sport. A lot of them calling for this to be a foul because of contact. Me and Ethan love basketball, but this isn't basketball, mate. You know, this is fair. This is fair play. Matt Fries is pressured by Charles de Ketelaere from behind. He comes out to get the ball. He does well to do that. Sort of nullifies an attack, but he's in no man's land. He kicks the ground. De Ketelaere coming in, pressure from behind, gets his body in front, wins the ball, lays it off for Hans Van Aken. And it is a nice finish because he still get Tim Ream there who nearly gets it, but he puts it in such an awkward position where Ream can't actually get to the ball. It was so close to him that he couldn't adjust his body, and it's 3-1 to Belgium. And then Romelu Lukaku, like I said, has scored so many goals off the bench. He does it again in the 93rd minute. And this is I think this is a glimpse into what Romelu Lukaku has done throughout his career. He's maybe not done it as much, but every now and again you see him score and you remember how ridiculously good he was at one point. Tremendous finish on his weak foot as well from the big man. So yeah, a really really good Belgian performance, and no hate towards the USA players, but I was really really happy when this when I woke up to see this result.
Yeah, it was good to see because, as I said, I think it would have opened up more problems if the USA had won this match. But obviously, Belgium made sure they didn't, and I think this might be a blessing in disguise for Rudy Garcia's team because Belgium, in all honesty, haven't been great up until this point. They really scraped past Senegal in what was another excellent game in the tournament. A lot of controversy in that game as well with the late penalty, but yeah, Belgium were excellent, and USA really didn't have an answer for them at all. They were so physical and all the things you would say USA have been really good at in the opening games, Belgium were just better than them at it, and never looked like they were going to lose that match at all. And of course, the big shouts were taking out Kevin De Bruyne and Jeremy Doku at the starting 11, but bringing in the likes of Nico Raskin and of course Anana briefly before he comes off, and then Vanaken, who had a good game as well, really helped Belgium. And I don't think Garcia will make too many changes ahead of that Spain game, and I give them a lot more hope against a bit against the Spaniards than I would have done previously. So yeah, blessed in
Yeah, actually,
disguise, and
I actually kind of fancy them, and we'll get onto that in the
yeah.
predictions. But
But no, I love Lukaku's goal, as you said. Still doing it, and obviously he's not fully fit as to the reason why he's not playing, but he's still contributed massively for them, and I think he'll have a big part to play if they go any further in this tournament. And I really liked his celebration. I think some people suggesting he was sort of pointing up at Infantino to sort of say to him, look at the beast that you brought out of this team in Belgium and the Red Devils, and then all of them doing the Trump dance after they scored in the dressing room as well was quite funny, and all a bit of housery they call it. So yeah, no, that was nice to see, and all credit to Belgium for getting the job done. And yeah, I'm really interested to see that matchup now.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll move on to the penultimate game of the round. Had trouble saying that word there. The holders taking on Egypt in the game, and Egypt gave them a run for their money. Yasser Ibrahim opened the scoring in the 15th minute before Lionel Messi missed a penalty in the 21st. I'm convinced he's doing this on purpose just so he can score the open play. Um,
He didn't.
everyone was calling him Pessi last tournament.
Yeah, and it was Ali McCoy's to, as I might have said on here, not always my favourite on commentary. I think that's unfair to Ali, probably based on the amount that I hear him. He's just on every game, but I really agreed with the point he made on Messi in this scenario. He never looked confident, never looked like he was going to score the penalty, which is strange for, of course, a man of his pedigree. But yeah, it's always been a real mystery with Messi missing high profile penalty kicks. It's never been his speciality, which of course it was in the last World Cup, which was one of the surprising natures of it. The fact that he so coolly dispatched all of them that came his way, including the ones in the shootouts. But no, back to the usual Messi, especially in the blue and white of Argentina, because of course he's had some awful penalty misses in Copa America finals and stuff like that. But I was speaking about Mustafa Ahmed Shaber, the Egypt goalkeeper, and I think it was Roy Keane that was saying he could have done better for one of the goals, which we'll get onto. But I thought he had another solid game, and I think he's a really solid goalkeeper that could be on for a big move. There is another player in the Egypt team which could be on for a big move, possibly to Scotland. We'll get on to, but yeah, no, Egypt started really well.
Seen this? Whoever
What is
this,
it?
I've not seen this. Whoever this
Yeah, we'll get
is.
we'll get on to it. I don't think there's much substance behind the rumor, but we'll get on to it anyway in
Yeah.
due course.
Egypt. So we go into half time 1-0, and Egypt double their advantage through Mustafa Ziko. However, the goal was ruled out for a foul in the build-up. I am of the opinion that this is not a foul. This is a really soft challenge to me, and Egypt were robbed of a second goal here.
No, it's a clear foul.
Okay.
He
Um,
steps on his foot and doesn't take the ball. It's a clear foul.
I disagree. Um,
Okay,
I just
we'll
think
agree to disagree.
it's a, it's a rough challenge, but it's a fair challenge.
Right. So what bit of him not taking any of the ball and taking Lissandro Martinez, I think it is. What
It
bit of
just
that's
gets,
not a foul?
just gets his body in the way, doesn't he? And Martinez goes
No, no, but
down.
he steps on his foot as well.
I
I
don't
agree
know.
with you. See, if it was just the body, like with no foot to foot contact, I'd agree with you. It's probably not a foul. But the fact that he makes contact with the Man United defender's foot without taking the ball is a clear foul.
Yeah. Agree, disagree.
Okay.
But Mustafa Ziko did get his goal in the 67th minute, and you think, are Egypt for
Excellent, excellent. I've got to say though, excellent run from Hussein Hassan for that
yeah,
goal.
yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, I'll start building up the mystery. He was before the game. I seen a source linking him with a move to Celtic. Uh,
Really?
yes, before the game. His numbers at Real Oviedo in terms of goals and assists aren't great, but from what I've seen after the game, of course, hyped up for his performance based on that run of course, Mohamed Salah produces the excellent pass before the disallowed goal went in. And then, of course, he does get the assist for the second goal. And I've seen a few sort of usual La Liga watchers saying this isn't normal for this guy. He's an excellent dribbler. He's dribbling sort of data is the top of the league. It's just in terms of his end product not being great. And of course, I think that's maybe Celtic delving into the analytics a little bit. But I think after this performance, I wouldn't imagine seeing them show up in Glasgow because I think there will be a few suitors for him based on how the World Cup is. Players performing the highest stage, especially against the world champions. It's very unlikely that he's going to end up at Celtic, especially with their recent negotiation tactics.
Yeah. It's interesting actually because I'm aware of Hussein Hassan because I've actually used him on a career mode very recently,
Oh,
and he was good. But it was funny because before, as early as just a few months ago, he on FC or FIFA or whatever you want to call it, he was down as French.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
Only recently it made the switch. Yeah,
yeah,
I looked
so
at it. It was yeah.
so when I saw him in the squad for the sort of Egypt call up, I was a bit like, well, okay, interesting. But yeah, really, really good from him. And you think, are Egypt's going to knock out the reigning champions? Are we going to see Egypt in the quarterfinals of the World Cup? Unfortunately, not for any Egyptians out there. Cuti Romero got the goal back, a header assisted by none other than Lionel Messi. Messi then gets his goal in the 83rd minute, and Argentina top off a 15-minute comeback, um, or maybe, I don't know, 13 minutes, I guess you could say, from Enzo Fernandez, who headed it home for a 3-2, and Argentina pull off one of the greatest World Cup comebacks, I think you could say, and make it through to the next round. Heartbroken Egyptian players should be proud of themselves, putting a really good performance, but class prevails in this game.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think you've seen the relief, what was tears of relief for Lionel Messi and some of his Argentina, Argentina teammates after the full time whistle because they were so close to an almighty upset in the World Cup going out to Egypt. And, of course, they avoided an even greater almighty upset to another African side in the previous round, which
The
arguably game of
African,
the
the, the
tournament still.
African
That
side,
was,
the African sides have been given a really good account of themselves.
yeah, they have done. Of course, I think it was what was it, 10 of 11 of them went to the last 32, or 9 of 10 of them. Of course, all but Egypt and Morocco, I believe, dropped out of the first knockout round, and then of course Morocco's still in it. And I think what you're going to see is with the way football's going, that I think the African sides are only going to get better and better. You're going to see more of them get into the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and eventually one of them's going to win it because I think they're certainly looking like the next continent to add a star to one
It's
of their
too,
nation's
it's too,
badges.
it's too big a continent to not have a team win it at some point. It's the sheer amount of people there. It's just infrastructure and teams and clubs and academies and stuff. And I think there has been a lot of progression in certain nations over the years. Um, so I look forward to seeing that because we always love a bit more competition in the
Yeah,
world of football. So Egypt put a really good account of themselves in this game. However, I don't think there's any shame going out to the world champions, and Argentina moved through to the quarters.
yeah, and I think there's been a lot of calls from Egypt and a lot of complaints about corruptness and all that. And there's been investigations I seen into apparently into Argentina's finances. I think it's all been blown out of proportion, really. I think I've seen a lot more greater evidences of possible corruption in this tournament, not in this game. I'm not going to obviously name them because I hope there isn't any corruption, and I would never on here label any match as that. But I think those cries are outrageous because I think they got every decision in this match right, in my opinion. I know we obviously disagree on the foul possibly for the Egypt's second goal before it, of course, being disallowed before Zico eventually did get the second goal. But no, another excellent match for Argentina in the knockout stages of this tournament, and they're just absolute cinema in this tournament, and hopefully it continues against Switzerland in the next round.
Yeah, however, Switzerland's game to progress was not absolute cinema. It was one of the worst 120 minutes of football I've ever seen in my entire life. Absolutely dreadful from both sides. Um, I mean, I don't really know what you could say. The only thing, it was the penalty point that I wanted to bring up. I believe Colombia should have had a penalty. I think it was either the end of the game or it was extra time. It was Campaz chasing after the ball, he gets the touch on it, and it's a collision of knees, and he goes down. And then the American analysis, I can't remember her name, but she's been doing all the games
Oh,
for the referee analysis.
Christina Uncle, is it?
Yeah, so she comes on and she says because it's knee to knee contact, this decision is going to be not penalty, and it's not a penalty for me. And I'm thinking, you bring somebody down in the box when they've got the ball past someone, and for me it's a penalty no matter where the contact is. I don't know if you know about the incident I'm talking about, Ethan, but for me at the time, I thought it was a penalty to Colombia.
Yeah, I think I do remember it, but I'm not going to lie and say 100% do because, as you remarked, a lot of this game was very forgettable. But I think Colombia were the better of the two teams throughout the 120. If I had to pick a side, and I think Colombia a real story throughout all their matches. I know they made it to this stage, but really underperforming what they could have achieved in each individual game. They, of course, won the two first group games. They could have easily taken 3 points off Portugal. They probably should have won by a lot more goals against Ghana. And, that was the problem we've seen with a few of the South American sides, Ecuador in particular, was really converting their chances into goals. I think
Yeah,
that's
well,
what we've seen with Colombia in this game.
there's a few absolute sitters missed. I mean, I spoke about Campaz getting brought down, but he had an incredible opportunity in the game that he blasted over the bar for about 8 yards out.
Yeah, yeah, they had the better of the better of the chances of the two sides. Not with it, not as if they were really, I don't know, knocking on the door too much at any period, but they did have the better of the two sides. But obviously, credit to Switzerland,
I
as I
think
think,
old Gregor Kobel did make some really good saves, though,
yeah,
especially in that.
he was the difference in the match and the difference in the shootout because he made some really good. Was it one save or two
Yeah, he
saves he made?
saved one because Davinson Sanchez blasted it over the bar. And I was quite pleased with that because for me during the game, Davinson Sanchez had been a bit of I don't know, a nasty player. There was that when Braylon Bolo was jumping for the ball, and the keeper comes through the back of him, completely accidental collision. And Sanchez is standing over him, Bolo, while he's laid out, shouting at him and like sort of going like that to him while he's sort of laid out on the floor after getting clattered in the back because he thinks he's intentionally rattled into his goalkeeper. And then later on, he got into a spat with Cedric Itten after after Sanchez, fouled him and hurt him. And then Sanchez tries to shake his hand after an Itten's going, "No, I'm not shaking your hand, mate. You've just intentionally hurt me." And Sanchez starts like mouthing off at him as well. So I was quite pleased to see Sanchez put it over the bar. I think he's quite a good player, and I have liked him over the years. But for me in this game, he was quite nasty. The Colombia skipper.
Yeah, one of the many centre backs to miss their shootout penalties, along with Manuel Akanji, of course. the couple of Australia boys who missed their penalties against Egypt. It's been a real,
Jonathan Tah. They all
yeah,
seem to
Jonathan Tah, of
they
course,
all
as
seem to
well.
have just sailed that into Rosette.
I think there was a Paraguay defender that missed his penalty in that shootout as well. I don't know why central defenders should be your least technical footballers on the pitch.
Did you
Why they're
see?
on penalty kicks, I don't know.
Did you
Of
see?
course, they're the best. They must be the best in practicing.
Did you see though? It was one of the Australian boys. He was 18 years old and he missed the penalty. But a German fan reached out to him and said, "You should be proud. 31-year-old Champions League winner, Bundesliga winner, Leon Goretzka refused to take a penalty, and you stepped up at 18 years of age. And we're all very proud of you, you know." So that this German fan reached out to him and said that.
Yeah, I like the sentiment behind it, but ultimately, if you're choosing this, if you're choosing, I'd rather if it was if it was my two players and one of them wasn't confident, so didn't want to step up, and then and left it for someone who was more confident to step up, and they scored and they won because of it. I'd rather that than you stepped up and missed. You know what I mean? Like I like the sentiment behind it, and it's a nice story, but ultimately, he missed as
But
well. So
who knows if I was confident? I don't think any of them were that
that
confident because I think it was
you
just
don't say Goretzka.
yeah, I did, but I'm saying who knows if Ta was confident.
Yeah, I know, but I wasn't speaking about that. I was just saying like he's done as much. He's helped his team as much as Goretzka has, really. But no, I think
Or that,
no,
because
but
because
but he has.
Kimmich asked, "Does anyone want to take a penalty?" And nobody said anything. Was
Yeah, well
the attackers were
that's
like,
mad.
and then Ta had to go and take a penalty. I don't think he was on. I don't think they had a list. Thanks, a few of them puts the bed, so to speak. So
But I think
yeah,
Germany was a team apart from Manuel Neuer and Joshua Kimmich. It was a team full of I don't know empty
lackeys.
jerseys, bottlers, just not big. There's not really any big characters in that squad, is there? So yeah, I think
No,
that's why they struggled when it got to the real ugly part of the tournament for them against
yeah.
Paraguay.
Well, anyway, Switzerland progressed through to the next round. So our quarter finalists, I think I read them out at the start, but they are France and Morocco, Spain and Belgium, Norway and England, and Argentina and Switzerland. So before we do a little brief bit at the end about Scottish football, and we're going to do some predictions for the quarter-finals. And do you want to go all the way through again, Ethan? Since
Yeah, we'll
the
go all the way through me as well. Maybe we'll get lucky one of these times. We've got a lot less to predict this time around.
okay, so France versus Morocco.
I think Morocco will pose a threat and be a difficult challenge to France, but I see France winning as they did in the 2022 semi-final against Morocco.
I just don't see any team being capable of containing this France attack.
Well, we'll see in the final when we'll see who I've got in the final again.
I know you think Argentina will win, but
No, I don't think they'll win the whole thing. I just think they'll give
do
France
you
a
not? I
game.
thought you predicted that the last time, I'm sure, didn't you?
No, no, I said France would be
Did
Argentina in
you?
the final.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So Spain versus Belgium.
I think there's going to be a shock in one of these games, and I think this may be it. I think the Belgium, how much that Balogun incident really frustrated them has been a blessing in disguise. I think Garcia's found a really good formula for the squad, which didn't have a good setup before. They looked really poor. I think they looked really good against the US, and I think they look more capable of Spain than scoring a
You know,
goal at
you
least.
know,
So I'm going Belgium.
I saw a Belgium fan on Twitter talking about how good. Right, this sounds like pushing the Rangers agenda. But he was talking about Nico Raskin and how over he's put in a better performance for Belgium in this tournament than Kevin De Bruyne had in years.
Yeah, I mean that's not like insane to say because Kevin De Bruyne has not really been he's not really hit the heights for Belgium as he did at club level. I'd say I'd caveat it by saying he was excellent in the 2018 World Cup when they got to the semi-finals, but it's crazy to think that I think you agree with me that we're expecting this Belgium team to get as far as that one did when you think of the players they had. Obviously, they have a lot of the same players now, but they had a Kevin De Bruyne and he's in the prime of his career, or just before that, Eden Hazard in the prime, Romelu Lukaku in the prime, the Spurs central defenders, Courtois. Of course, they went out to the eventual winners, France, but that was an excellent, excellent team. And I think Raskin has played. He's been really promising in the minutes he's played, and I think he's certainly guaranteed his place. I would think to start this match against Spain, and that'll be a real interesting matchup. Rangers Nico Raskin going head to head with Pedri, Rodri, and Danny Olmo, you would imagine, which I think will be a real test of how good
What
he really
I
is.
quite like it about this, so every good performance, every time they progress, just a couple more mil on the price tag, you know. But because it looks like Rangers will sell Nico Asking this summer now. The current fee being talked about is £25 million, which I would absolutely love. But anyway, I'm going to go with Belgium as well. So Belgium versus France, a repeat of 2018. So that should be interesting. Norway versus England. I guess on the face of it, you said you want to go for an upset, Ethan, and
Yeah.
one of these games. On the face of it, you could call it an upset, but just based on the performances, my pick for this is Norway, and I don't think that would be much of an upset just based off performances.
That is still an upset though. That's an upset in this game.
It is an upset, but it's not like a crazy upset. It's not as if like if Switzerland beat Argentina, you know,
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I think there will be an upset in this match, whatever way it goes. But I think it'll be an upset for the Scotland fans in terms of being upset because I think England are going to beat Norway. Unfortunately, I think it'll be a closely contested game. I think Haaland will possibly score, but Alex has got his hands tied behind his back. He's back Norway in the final, so he's going to stick with that. And fair enough because they have a fighting chance, but I think unfortunately England will progress to the semi-finals.
okay, Argentina versus Switzerland. I'm gonna
You know,
go with the holders, Argentina.
Oh, I'm going to go with the holders as well. They've struggled against the African sides in the last two games, but I think what it's also shown is they have an excellent mentality. They look like a team that maybe more than anyone else don't believe that they're going to lose a match, and that can carry you very far, especially when you have the greatest player of all time and possibly the greatest player at the tournament. So yeah, I think Argentina will do the job over Switzerland.
Okay, so we've predicted every game the same except for Norway and England. So France versus Belgium.
Uh, I think this will be a step too far really for Belgium. I can't see them going toe to toe with France. I think France may make even easier work of this than they did against Morocco. I can see France winning by a couple goals. To be honest, I think they'll just have way too much for Garcia's side.
Um, I agree. I oh, you thought I was going to change my mind there. I think France will. I don't want to sound too disrespectful, but I feel like this will be your case for me. So like most of the teams, if they match up against this France team, I think they'll make easy work of Belgium. To be honest, and
Yeah,
could
no, I
even
agree. But I seen someone saying this, and I agree. See the team that you always think's the best in the World Cup, they never win it. It's usually like somewhat like the team that's like by far outright the best. Sometimes like doesn't win it because something weird happens. They underperform. So there's not 100% guarantee. What I'm saying is, F F to Ethan. This is not news to anybody, but I'm just re-emphasising the point that these teams could easily beat France, but I think France will turn up because I think they've just they seem like a team that really wants to make amends for the 2022 final, and they want to reclaim their trophy. That's, of course, a fading number of the squad won in 2018, sorry, but of course the forefront um, of this squad, and certainly one of the key members of that squad, Kylian Mbappe, will want to get another World Cup next to his name.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the other semi-final you have England versus Argentina. I have Norway versus Argentina. And I think Norway are going to roll their way to the World Cup final.
Well, I think Argentina will beat England. I just think, as I said, it's hard to. I know that it's been two tough games for Argentina, and they've made heavy weather of teams you would expect them to beat pretty comfortably. But it's really hard to go against them, especially with Messi, especially going up against England, which I don't think England are a great team. I think they've had you could say, a really fortunate in terms of the teams they could have faced. A really fortunate run to the semi-finals as England usually have, and you know the case with England usually is they they'll keep winning until they face a team that's better than them or looks better than them, and then they'll lose. And I think that'll be the same here, and I hope it will be. And I think Argentina will come out on top, and it'll be a repeat of the 2022 World Cup final.
Okay, so our World Cup finals are France versus Norway and France versus Argentina. Uh, so, Ethan, just a few moments ago, you were talking about the team that's the best outright never usually wins. But the
Oh
team,
no.
something weird happens, and another team win the competition. So, I have changed my prediction for the World Cup winners. I'm going to back Erling Haaland in Norway to win the World Cup.
No, you're not.
I am. I'm sticking to it. 100%. Norway are going to win the World Cup.
So you think I've said this before, but I'm going to sort of alter the point as to what I made the last time. So you think the team that Erling Haaland came out and said before they played France in the group stages that he probably won't play, will probably lose, they'll probably win the tournament. He will come round to help
It's,
Norway beat France in the final. It's all
it's
part
all
of the
mind,
plan.
no, it's mind games. It's mind games from the big man because he knew they would make it and they'll come up against them. So I think Norway are going to win. I think Norway are going to win the tournament. Haaland finishes with a golden boot.
It's a big leap. You know, credit to Norway getting this far. They've done well. They beat some good teams along the way. They beat Brazil, of course, a result that they'll remember, and it'll be in Norwegian football history forever. But I think England, Argentina, and France are all a step up, and they are going to fall at one of those hurdles. What one it is, I don't know, but they will fall at one of them.
Okay, okay, fine. So that'll do it for our World Cup chat. Before we move on to some Scottish football, this is a very long episode. We're going to play a little game. I don't know. You've probably seen this concept. The person says three, two, one. We both name a club, and then we need to name a player who's played for both of those clubs, and the person who names the player first wins. So we're just going to do it with world clubs just now, just like any club you can kind of think of. And it should be interesting. It's the first time we've sort of done this. Might be difficult on Zoom with the delay, so we'll see how it goes. So are you ready, Ethan?
Yes,
Okay. Three, two, one. Borussia
AC
Dortmund.
Milan.
Yusufa Mokoku.
Who did you say?
Yusufa Mokoku. Did he not play
Who?
for AC Milan?
Yusufa Mokoko, the young Dortmund striker. I don't think he did play for AC Milan. You might be right, but I don't think he did. But I'm struggling to think of anyone else at the current moment.
I've got another one as well.
Yeah, think of another one while you're looking up Mokoko.
Well, I've got another one. Pulisic.
Oh yeah, of
Um,
course. Right. Well, that's definitely one. So you win. 1-0 to you.
I swear he did play for AC Milan at one point.
Don't think he did. Maybe he did. I don't know, but
It was Nice he was at. I got confused with the black and red.
yeah,
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, Inter Milan.
Bayern Munich.
Pavard.
No. Did you say Inter Milan?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Okay, I thought you said AC Milan. So.
Oh, no. Was it?
2-0, 2-0.
What do you want? What do you want to play to? First to
Uh,
five.
no, just do best of five. So if you win,
Yeah.
I have to do a reverse sweeper. You need to win this one, right? Do
Okay.
you want to do like a specific nation, or like we need the clubs from a nation, or do you want to just
Nah,
keep doing no,
that,
keep doing
that
big?
keeps
Right,
that
okay,
keeps it too narrow.
right, cool, right. 3, 2, 1, go. Atletico Madrid.
Barcelona.
Griezmann.
Suarez. What'd you say?
I said Griezmann.
All right, you got it first. You got it
Yeah.
first.
Oh, he's doing it. He's doing it. The reverse sweep. Right.
All right. Do you
Okay.
want to count off again then?
Yep. Right. 3, 2, 1. Manchester
Real
City.
Madrid.
Danilo.
Ah, no. Oh,
Oh, the reverse sweep. It's on. Right. I think you have an advantage if you count down. So I think you counted down the first two times. I counted down the last two times. So you count down this time and see if that theory works. Wait. So
okay.
wait. Do you do 3, 2, 1, and then after you've said one, we say the names?
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
3, 2, 1. Stuttgart.
Bayer Leverkusen. Who did you say?
Stuttgart.
Oh. um. Oh. Really test their ball knowledge here. Uh,
This is difficult, man. Should
yeah,
have
this
said.
is a tricky one. Uh, you know what? I'm gonna throw a name out there, and then you can throw a
Amiri.
name. Yeah, I think that's right. I was gonna go for Jonathan Tah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Uh,
fact check Amiri.
um,
I don't know if he has.
no, I mean he's not right. It was Hoffenheim. Let's check Jonathan Tah then.
Oh,
Uh, no, Tah was Hamburg and Dusseldorf. So we need to think of one still, or do we need to roll again?
do you want to roll again?
Right, now I do the countdown this time then.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Juventus.
Chelsea.
Uh,
You say
go
Betis,
back,
yeah. Who?
Morata.
Did you say Betis?
No, Juventus.
I thought you said Betis.
So you had this game on Zoom. It's a bit doesn't really work, does it?
No, no, I would have gone with Renato Vega. Um, but anywho,
Oh
Ethan
well.
wins. Ethan
Yes.
wins, and we're gonna do. So this episode has ran on quite long, so we'll talk very briefly about some Scottish football, and then we'll to round off the episode. We'll try this game with Scottish teams. Okay, so moving on to some Scottish football chat. We'll start on some transfers, and a pig just flew past my window because it looks like Celtic might sign someone. Ethan, take it away.
Yeah, it looks like Celtic are going to complete a signing. Looking like it's done from every report I've seen. Celtic haven't announced it yet, but one signing that I'm actually quite looking forward to. It's of Carabag forward Camilo Duran. Celtic would be Celtic's first ever Colombian player for around £5 million, rising to 6 million, I believe, totally with add-ons. He scored 5 goals in the UCL League phase last season for the Azerbaijan and Azerbaijan, is that right? Azerbaijan, I think it is,
Yeah,
champion.
Azerbaijani.
Yeah,
So
Azerbaijani, that's the one. I remember we went because we had this sort of dilemma. I remember we were talking about Kairat Almaty being the Kazakhstani champions. But yeah, you're right. And yeah, it looks like a good signing to start out Celtic's window. I think you would argue, and Celtic fans would tell you the same, that it should have probably started already. But they took a while to get the backroom staff in place. They've got that in place now. They've got the set piece coach in, and looks like a promising start to the transfer window. I didn't catch any of Celtic's opening friendly of the pre-season last night against Shelbourne away in Ireland, which they drew one each, two penalties late on in the game. Shin Yamada converting his in the 91st minute after Harry Wood converted his for the Irish Premier Division side. So yeah, I don't think there was too many takeaways from that match. I think the main one that I heard was that sort of outcast central defender last season, Mike Nawrocki, took his opportunity and impressed within reason in that game. So yeah, but not too much going on at Celtic, I don't think, out with that. Of course, as they really need to get their act together pretty quickly, as we've known for a while now. They have got Champions League qualifiers coming up because they have started last night as we're recording this, the first round of qualifiers. Celtic enter at the playoff stage again, is it? And Hearts the third round, I want to say. Um, of course, Celtic will be in the Champions path, Hearts and the more difficult, as we've seen in the past, league path. But yeah, best of luck to both of these sides. I know Hearts have been having their warm, sort of warm summer camp. I can't actually remember where exactly it is, but I've seen pictures of that, and they've been training. I've seen Calvin Miller looking pretty sharp in one of the sort of bounce games. I think it was Hearts against Hearts, but he was looking pretty good. It was setting up a goal for James Wilson. So, and of course, Rangers have signed a lot. Of course, since getting Derek McInnes in, I think have they added a few more names since the last time we spoke on here.
yeah, I think we'll just recap the signings anyway. Lawrence Shankland, Ivor Pandur, Ross McCrory, Dan Neil, and Ben Godfrey. Ben Godfrey a loan signing, all of the rest permanent. Jack Butland going in another direction to Ivor Pandur to Hull City. And I've been quite pleased with all their business so far. Rangers are looking aggressive. They've been linked with a couple of signings recently as well. Partizan Belgrade captain. Let's see. I'm going to pull up his name because I
Well,
thought
while
from
you look up his name, Alex, sorry, something that I forgot to mention, of course, in Celtic's free agents last season, they did re-sign Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on for another year, and it looks like just breaking news quite recently that Celtic are in talks to re-sign Kelechi Iheanacho, which
yeah,
you would have expected based on his contributions last season, but of course we know that they didn't initially come to agreements on that sort of agreed clause that was in his contract. You don't know. You can only sort of I don't know what would be the word. I don't know. You could sort of hypothesize. Hypothesize. I can't use the word.
hypothesized.
Yes, that's the word. Um, why that might be why that was the case, but apparently they also want to keep Marcelo Sarachi as part of the squad. And again, this is all stuff that it's not really news because you would have imagined Celtic to want to go down that route again. But we're still here waiting a couple months now after the season's finished, and this business still hasn't been done, which you can understand, and then you can understand why the Celtic fans are frustrated.
Yeah. So um, I've got the name here. Partizan Belgrade captain Vanja Dragojevic. Started his he's only 20 years old. He's a defensive midfielder. He started playing men's first team football in 24-25 when he made 11 appearances. Since then, last season, he made 41 appearances, scored four and assisted three, and is now the captain of Partizan Belgrade at 20 years old. Has made two appearances for the Serbian national team as well. So looks like one for the future. And I think the rumoured fee for him was around £4 or £5 million. Rangers have also had a £6 million bid rejected by Tromso for Norway under 21 international Jens Dahl, who is also a midfielder. And apparently, Rangers will also look to add, in addition to adding a midfielder, they will look to add a right winger and another centre back before the season begins. So it's going to be a very busy window for them. Other clubs have been busy as well. Motherwell made a couple of signings on Friday. Someone else, another club, I can't remember. I think St Johnstone brought somebody in. And obviously, Kilmarnock, since we last recorded, actually, we might have spoken about them, but they brought in O'Hara and
Yeah,
Billy
we did
Riggs.
we did speak about Kilmarnock's excellent business. Yeah.
So yeah, they've been excellent. So a lot of movement in the summer transfer window. Celtic looking to get up to speed as well, and it's setting up for an exciting summer. Of course, we have the League Cup group stages kicking off this weekend with 16 games on Saturday. So if you're in, if you've been choking for some Scottish football, um, you will be excited for this. Sorry, I have lost the fixtures. There we
Uh,
go.
yeah,
Some
sorry, I was just looking, Alex, at the sort of round off of the recent big transfers. Maybe that I think you've probably covered a few of these on the TikTok, of course, but a few that we haven't maybe spoke about in the videos and a few that I've seen on the TikTok as some of the big ones was Miguel Freckleton getting that really good move for him over to Austria with LASK Linz or Lask Linz. Is it LASK or is it Lask?
your poison. I've heard it
Yeah,
before.
but no, an excellent move for him. Another excellent move for central defender Luke Graham going to Stoke City, of course, from Dundee. Motherwell have signed a couple of players, central defender Martin Moorman from BW Linz, also in Austria. Willie Vogt from Bellinzona signed for Motherwell. And the other one I've seen which took my fancy, what was it? Oh yes, St Johnstone have confirmed another loan deal for Toby Stewart, who was absolutely excellent for them in the Championship last season, the goalkeeper from Portsmouth. So great move for Simo Valakari's team as they make up,
They also
they make
brought
a
back
step up to
in.
the.
They also brought in Zach Mitchell, who's played for them
Yeah, yeah,
previously.
he was there on that as well.
He was
But
also at Hibs as well, but he barely made any appearances
yeah,
at Hibs. But another young defender in the mix. So yeah, some exciting stuff happening in terms of the fixtures on Saturday. Some of maybe the standouts: Queen of the South versus Kelty Hearts, Stirling Albion hosting Dundee United, Viewer Dumbarton hosting St Mirren, East Kilbride versus Dunfermline Athletic should be a good game. Obviously, you've got Ross County now down in League One. They take on Annan. Partick Thistle hosting Brecon City. Stenhouse Muir versus Forfar Athletic. Some other interesting games here. Falkirk going to Edinburgh to play Edinburgh City. Stranraer versus Ayr United. Raith Rovers versus Elgin City. So there's some good fixtures in there. Some interesting storylines. And yeah, Scottish football will be back as of Saturday. So
yeah.
that is interesting to see, exciting to see.
Yeah, and I think something that, well, I referenced to at the top of the show, I believe it feels ages ago now, probably because it was. This feels like a really long episode, but that Aberdeen lost, I think it was, what was it, 6-2 or 6-3 to Ross County in a friendly. I'm not sure if that one was behind closed doors or whatever, but that's what's been widely reported. Ross County, of course, now in League One, and some big sides, some big full-time sides in League One, so even that's shaping up to be an excellent division on top of the obviously the entertainment value there always is of the championship, and of course, if the Premiership can even be as half as entertaining than last season, then we'll be doing well. So no, I'm really looking forward to getting back
Unfortunately,
there,
it won't
bread and
be.
butter.
Unfortunately, it won't be. It'll be an invincible season for Rangers and Derek McInnes. But anyway,
How many episodes do you think? How many episodes? If we're ending here, how many episodes do you think have just ended with you spouting delusional nonsense that's never going to happen or hasn't happened? So how many episodes do you think that? What if I had to give a percentage?
at least 50, I'd say.
I know, I'd agree. I'd agree around the
Um,
50-60% mark.
but eventually, I'll get something right one of these days. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I think. Do you want to try that game then with some Scottish football teams?
Yeah, well,
Um,
you know what? It's in the tennis season. Obviously, Wimbledon getting to the latter stages now, so we can do a serve. We'll call it a serve. Is when you do the countdown. That's your serve. So we'll do we'll do best of five, but you need to win by two.
okay, fine. Yeah, yeah, okay,
Okay,
okay.
best of
I
five,
like
you need to
that.
win by two.
I
Okay,
like that. Okay.
right. So do you want to do just Scottish football ones?
Yeah, let's do that.
Right,
That'll be
okay.
interesting.
Okay. I don't know if our ball knowledge is quite up, it'll come up to scratch here. Right, okay. We do, we'll do Premiership teams, and then if you want to throw in a wee Championship or League One team, then you can do occasionally, but mainly Premiership, yeah?
Yeah, okay. Mainly Premiership. Yeah.
Right, I'll serve first because I won the last game, so I'll do the countdown first. So I'll go 3, 2, 1, and then I'll say my club, and then you obviously say your club. Okay, ready to go?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Aberdeen.
Oh,
Uh,
Curtis Main.
Declan Gallagher. Who did you say?
Curtis Main.
Curtis Main. Yeah, you were first.
Okay.
I said Declan Gallagher. Has he played for Aberdeen?
Yeah, Dad, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, he did. He played for Aberdeen for a season. But 1-0 to you. You break serve, and now you've got serve. Good start
Yeah.
for you.
Okay. Um, 3, 2, 1. Aberdeen.
Samarin. Curtis Main.
Yeah. Okay, fine, fine, fine.
Yes. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. Okay. Right. 3, 2, 1. Hibs. Uh,
Josh Stoy. Yes.
oh, what a random player to say as well. Not even a current Hibs player.
Oh, I just scrambled. I just
Uh,
scrambled.
maybe our Serbian theory isn't too correct after
Oh,
all.
no, it's not. It's not okay. Uh, so I can win it with this camera.
Yes, you can. Yeah,
Yeah,
I need to
okay.
get this. This is
Okay.
match point.
3, 2, 1. Rangers.
Celtic. Kenny
Kenny
Miller.
Miller.
Oh, I thought I said it first.
Oh,
Did
maybe
you
it was
think
the
you said
Zoom.
it first?
I feel like I said it first. It was the Zoom. The Zoom.
Yeah.
Uh,
That might see. This is where this game falls apart. The viewers might have a better idea of who said that first, but us currently live don't
no,
have
all
an
right.
idea. So
We'll null and void that. I had a feeling we would both say our own clubs there, so I had
yeah,
Kenny Miller in the chamber. But
uh,
okay,
right.
okay.
Well, you go again then.
It's your serve, isn't it?
Yeah, but you went there and it wasn't a. Yours was a. It was a false serve, so you get a second chance.
Okay, 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 fine. Um, Okay. Three, two, one. Kilmarnock.
Rangers.
Chris Burke.
Who did you say?
Chris Burke.
Did you say Kilmarnock? I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. You get it. You won. That
Did
was
you not
the
hear, did you not hear the
no. That was
team?
an ace. I didn't even get a chance to return. I didn't hear the club. But
Oh,
fair enough. I knew who the club was as soon as you said it. But that was the case for the last round. So fair enough. One each the series, and we'll have
yeah,
to pick that up another time.
yeah, absolutely. So that'll do it for today's episode of the Dugout podcast. If you have stuck with us through this, God bless you. Because this has been a long, long episode, although I've quite enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone for watching and listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. Go check out the TikTok and the Dugout. Check out the Spotify, check out the YouTube, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let us know what you think of the World Cup. Let us know what you think of the return of Scottish football. Thank you and goodbye.